guys? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. I'm Monica, and today I'm coming to you with a brand new dupes video. I am so excited for the collection of products I have to go over with you guys today. Some of these are newer launches, but don't you worry, that does not mean that I have not thoroughly tested them against the alternative product to make sure that they are in fact the exact same or as similar as they can be. I am so excited to tell you all about the products I have rounded up. It's been about a year since my last dupes video. I take these videos very seriously because I want to give you the best alternatives to wonderful high-end products that I can, and that is exactly what I'm bringing to you guys today. So without further ado, let's just go ahead, jump in, and start in on the dupes I have found for amazing high-end products. So the first category I want to tackle is eyeshadow, and I have found a dupe for the Huda Beauty Pretty Grunge palette. So this is a beautiful palette. It is the only palette I've ever tried from Huda Beauty, but that's because it's just got the most gorgeous color story. I felt like it was the most wearable overall, at least for me personally. So because it's $69, I wanted to find a dupe for it, and I actually found one from Alter Ego. Now, Alter Ego is pretty known for making dupes for high-end palettes, but they do it well, and they do it in a way that's kind of like makes it less obvious that they're dupes, but you can still tell they're dupes. So this is the Alter Ego Misthaven palette. As you can see, color stories are pretty much identical. The layout of the colors is different. This is actually a little bit more organized in that, like, most of the mattes are on one side and then most of the shimmers are on the other side, but it's like pretty much the exact same. Let me see if I can show you these kind of side by side so you can see how similar they are. So as you can see, these are very, very similar, almost identical to be honest. It was very clear that Alter Ego was trying to dupe this, and honestly, they did such an amazing job. Okay, so before I continue, I want to show you side by side swatches of the Huda Beauty shadows and the Alter Ego shadows. So I've got the first row here. On the top for Huda Beauty, we have Liberty, and the equivalent shadow to that in the Alter Ego palette is Fawn. Then the next Huda Beauty shadow is Heroine, and the equivalent to that is Velvet. Then we have Avant-Garde to Mist, Renegade to Shadow, Brave to Thistle, Beauty Chaos to Plum. And then the second row of the Huda Beauty and the matching shadows from Alter Ego. First, we've got Huda Beauty Rise Up, and the equivalent to that is Petal, and then we have Stand Up to Dream, Strong AF to Moon, Nirvana to Echo, Haphazard to Secrets, and Fearless to Murk. And then on our last row for the Huda Beauty eyeshadow palette, we have Hope for Huda Beauty, and the equivalent to that is Nutmeg, then Love Anarchy to Pale in the Alter Ego palette, then Maverick to Twinkle, Rebel to Cluster, Freedom to Ember, and Grunge to Void. So you can see that these palettes are pretty much identical, and I would encourage you to save your money if you are interested in the Pretty Grunge palette from Huda Beauty. It's really actually kind of funny because as I've been testing these both out side by side, I find that I gravitate more towards the Alter Ego shadow formula. I actually think it's a little bit more workable, and the Alter Ego palette is 24 bucks. So you are saving so much money because 69, 24, big difference there. And I do actually like the formula a little bit better on the Alter Ego. Like I said, I feel like it's a little bit more workable. The mattes in both palettes are pretty similar. It's the shimmers that are a little bit different, especially this shade right here, Stand Up. If you can kind of see, it's the most wearable shimmer, like for day to day. It's a little bit stiff. The similar eyeshadow in the Misthaven one is Dream. Let me show you Dream. I find that the shade Dream is just a little bit more workable than the shade Stand Up in the Huda Beauty palette. It just feels like when you're laying down Stand Up from Huda Beauty that it kind of sticks in one area, whereas Dream in this palette actually kind of goes on a lot easier. It's a lot more blendable in my opinion. But clearly these were meant to be dupes. I mean, every single shadow has a dupe in here, and so I would say 100% to get the dupe. It wins in this case. If I could go back, I wouldn't purchase the Huda Beauty. Of course, I wouldn't be able to talk about it in this video if I didn't, but I would definitely say pass on the Huda Beauty palette, save your money, and if you're looking for that grungy look, go for Misthaven by Alter Ego. I don't have any more eye makeup dupes, but I have quite a lot of face makeup dupes, so I'm really excited to jump right into those with you guys. We're gonna tackle primer. I have really enjoyed the Saie Dewy Glow, I always forget, Glowy Super Gel? Yeah. Glowy Super Gel. It's got the funniest name. I always mix up the order of like the words, or I just throw like dewy in there because I feel like it would be. But I have the mini. This is such a beloved product. They've come out with a darker shade. It is well loved. This little mini size is $16. The larger size is $28. But fear not, I have found a dupe that I actually prefer a little bit, and it is this CoverGirl Skin Enhancer in Opal Glow. This ranges a little bit in price, but most retailers sell it for around $9 or $10. On Target, it is $9.49, so huge difference even between just the mini of this and the large of this. So I would say save your money on the Saie and go ahead and get the CoverGirl. I prefer this packaging anyway. It's literally identical in formula. It even smells similar, which is kind of funny. But the mini of this comes with 0.5 ounces, and then the only size of this comes with 0.81, so just under a full ounce. But regardless, you're saving a ton of money between the mini and this and the large, like the standard size of this and the CoverGirl. I absolutely love how these make my skin look. I also love the darker version of the CoverGirl. That's actually the one I tried first. I know they make a darker version of this, and I would bet that the darker version of this CoverGirl, I feel like I'm going back and forth, but I would bet that the darker version of the CoverGirl is also a dupe for the darker version of the Saie. It's just the exact same thing. Goes on your face the same way, adds a nice bit of glow and tackiness, and is beautiful under foundation. So highly recommend getting the drugstore version. So the next dupe I have is unbelievably exciting because if you've been here for really any period of time, I have raved and raved about the Fenty Beauty Eaze Drop Stick Foundation, and there's nothing else that I've ever tried until the dupe that actually compared to it at all. It's perfect. You can really mess with the coverage level. I usually put like one full layer on and go in my more, you know, blemish prone or hyperpigmented areas with a light second coat, and I build it up to about medium coverage, which is my favorite amount of coverage, and I have loved this since it came out. I have not turned back. And then this year, Milani decided to throw their hat in the ring. They came out with the Milani Conceal and Perfect Blur Out Skin Tint Stick. I just recently tried this in your time, but in my time, I have been using this nearly every single day that I'm not filming against this because I was like, during that video, I did get the wrong shade. I went a shade deeper. I got the shade 3 in that, and it was too light. It really threw me off, and I felt like I looked really pasty. But I got the shade 4, and shade 4 in this and shade 3 in the Eaze Drop are pretty much identical. This is actually a little bit more neutral, which I prefer. But once I got the new shade, I have been trying it and testing it against this. They're identical. Not only do they like sound identical because they're skin tint sticks, they apply the exact same way. You get the exact same amount of coverage with this on the first layer. You build it up, you get the exact same amount of coverage when you got like a light second layer with both. And you know what? I like the packaging of this one more because each shade has their own color packaging, which is amazing. I feel like the drugstore is really trying to compete with high-end with like little details like that. Although the drugstore has creeped their prices up a little bit, this still is $36 and this is $15.99. You can of course get this on sale. You can get this on sale too. But most of the time drugstore tends to have more sales than retailers that carry Fenty and stuff like that. So you're still getting this for less than half the price of this by a little bit. And so I cannot recommend it enough. I probably won't be repurchasing this unless I'm in a pinch and it's the only thing I can find. And I'll probably just continue to repurchase this because it is the exact same thing. I cannot stress that enough. The application is the exact same. Like the process is the same. The look it gives on your skin is the same. Satin finish, medium coverage. It's absolutely beautiful. I would also like to mention that both of these come with 25 shades. It looks like there's pretty much a shade dupe for every shade in the Fenty one. Of course, there's a little bit of a discrepancy between the pictures online, which is all I have to reference, and like in person. And like I said, this is shade 4 and this is shade 3, and they're pretty much identical, so just keep that in mind. But the fact that they have the exact same amount of shades is amazing, and the fact that this packaging matches every single shade is amazing. I did want to say that this comes with slightly less product, not much, but this comes with 0.28 ounces and this comes with 0.32, but you'd still be paying less for a full 0.32 ounces of this than you would be for this. You just be paying more than $15.99 for it. So I just wanted to say that. I know I've been talking about this particular category for a while, but like I said, I have loved this skin tint foundation for so long. And when I found a dupe for it, I was like, oh, we have to talk about this. I have to tell everybody about it. By the way, I am wearing all of these products on my face today. Can you tell the difference? I don't really think so. So on the concealer, I actually have two different sets of concealer I want to talk about. So I actually want to talk about the dupe concealer that I have first. For the first set of concealers, this is the Catrice True Skin Concealer. I have raved about this for years. I tried it like, I don't know, 4 years ago, I think. And that's about the time it came out, and I cannot stop using it. I love it so much. I have it in my fair shade, I have it in my tan shade, because I cannot live without it. And last year I decided to treat myself to a high-end concealer, and that concealer was the Natasha Hy-Glam concealer. I had just heard so many people talking about this, and I had to give it a try. And the thing that I noticed is that these are pretty much identical. This may have a slightly thicker texture, but they provide the exact same amount of coverage, and I love this. I could see myself repurchasing this because it is the best high-end concealer out there, but I just had to share the dupe because this is $7. You cannot beat that price, especially in comparison to the $30 price tag that this retails for, but these are literally almost identical in finish. There's a little discrepancy in the formulas, but it's so slight that I don't even think you'd notice. To be honest, I notice a little bit because I've been trying these so much against each other that, you know, you start to pick up on stuff like that. By the way, just in case you are a shade twin with me, I am in the shade N4 in the Natasha one, and then Cool Cashmere in Catrice. As you can see, maybe, I have been running through this. I'm scraping in it. I actually need to put this in my empties bin for my next empties video because I fly through this stuff. But these are just so, both individually so good, but also so similar. So though I have said that I could see myself repurchasing this because I do thoroughly enjoy it, I don't think you need to pay the $30 price tag. If I had never tried this, I would have been perfectly fine because I love this so much. This is still my holy grail, and this one's like a close second. And you know what wins it over is the price tag on this, but they're literally so similar that, like I said, you wouldn't even notice the difference. So the next concealer I want to talk about are both concealers that I'm not exactly saying are my favorite, but they are the exact same, so I had to talk about them. One of them has been such a standout product for so many years that when I found the dupe for it, I actually had to go out and buy it to compare because it was clear that the dupe was trying to dupe it. So I've got the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer. I got a little mini because I just didn't want to spend the expensive price tag, okay? And the mini was still expensive. It was still $15. The regular standard size is $32. And the dupe is the Neutrogena Radiant Creamy Concealer, or Radiant Cream Concealer, excuse me. Very obviously from the name, it's trying to dupe this. And you know what? It succeeded. This is one that gets so much love, as of course I've already talked about the love for this one, but this is like, oh, been so viral in the past for being one of the best drugstore concealers. I don't really get it. I think it's fine. I think because I've been spoiled with the Catrice one and the Natasha one, that I just kind of felt like this was fine, and I felt like this was fine, but I do, however, feel like they are the exact same. They apply the same, have the same amount of coverage. These you do have to let sit to have more than like a light to light medium coverage. If you're wanting medium, I suggest letting them both sit for about 30 seconds. These are great for under the eyes. They're not as great as the other ones that I talked about for spot concealing, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, I did want to talk about these because it's so clear that the Neutrogena one was trying to dupe the Nars one, and they succeeded. So we have quite a lot of bronzer contoury dupes to talk about. I first want to talk about this Saie bronzer. This is the Dupe Bronze. I have it in the shade Sand. I really enjoy this bronzer. And so when e.l.f. launched their like answer, if it was supposed to be an answer to this, maybe it was supposed to be an answer to another one that hadn't come out yet, we'll get to that in a second. I had to try it. So, like I said, I have the Saie one in the shade Sand and the e.l.f. one I have in the shade Fair Light. These shades are very similar. I got Fair Light because I didn't want the super cool one, and I'm glad I did. These shades are so super similar because this is supposed to be more like a contour, but it does have bronzery shades, so take that for what it's worth, I guess. Like, obviously there may be a little bit of a shade discrepancy in some of the dupes versus the actual high-end version, but I did want to talk about these because the formula is so similar, and frankly the wands are quite similar. This is the wand for the Saie bronzer, and this is the wand, or I'm saying wand, the doe foot. This is the doe foot for the e.l.f. one, so slightly different but very, very similar, and the formulas on these are literally basically identical. I do want to make a quick shout out though. Even though these are so similar, this only comes with 0.13 ounces and this comes with 0.4. There's quite a big jump there. However, this is still $7 and this is $25. So I still think if you're wanting to save money, this is going to last you forever. So is this, but they're probably going to last the same amount. I can't guarantee that because I haven't used them through. That would be insane and actually quite impressive if I were able to do that, since this was a pretty recent launch and this one wasn't that far ahead of it. But yeah, I did want to kind of mention that. So though you will be saving some on this, you're still going to get less product than this, which kind of leads us into the next dupe that I want to talk about, and this one's going to stay here. So like I sort of said earlier, e.l.f. seems to have duped something before the original launched. We aren't talking about the Saie now, we are talking about the Rare Beauty Liquid Contour. So both of these kind of claim to be the same thing, whereas the Saie is more of like geared towards being a bronzer. This is very specifically a contour, like a liquid contour, and I did get this in the shade Mellow, which is like the Fair Light version of this, because I didn't want a super cool contour. I don't tend to gravitate towards a liquid contour. If I'm going to have a contour, it's either going to be a cream or a powder, so I like when they offer less contoury contour bronzer options, which is what they did with both of these. So this is $28. However, this is gigantic. I don't have the liquid blush anymore, unfortunately, to show you the difference in size in their components, but this is massive. So this has 0.503 full ounces, so just a little bit over a half an ounce, which is insane. And like I said, this has 0.13, so there's a drastic difference here. I did just kind of want to mention that. This will last you a significant amount of time longer than this, I believe, unless it goes bad. I can't really guarantee that this wouldn't go bad because liquids and creams, of course, do tend to go bad faster than powders. So if you're just wanting to save the money, and maybe you're somebody who, like, you use them enough, but you wouldn't use it enough to go through a full bottle of this one before it goes bad, I would go ahead and get the $7 option. It's amazing. It's kind of funny how similar all of these products are because they have that almost like moussey liquid texture and they blend in so beautifully on the skin. They're so easy to work with. So I did kind of want to give the caveats of some of these things. You know, you are still getting less product in the dupe for both of the things that this is a dupe for, but it's kind of up to you to decide if you would use it enough to get the biggest version or to get the Saie version. But I would say if you're going to use it all the time, actually get the Rare Beauty because it will last you forever. But if you want to save the money and you think you'll use it up the e.l.f. one because it comes with a little bit less and you want to not spend the heftier price tag, definitely go for the e.l.f. one. So yeah, okay, on to the next bronzer products, because apparently I really have a lot of bronzer dupes. So I just raved and raved about how the Milani Stick Foundation is a dupe, but now we're going to talk about the dupe I have for the Milani Cream Bronzer. Before I jump into that, I do want to talk about how this is one of the best drugstore bronzers that is a cream format, in my opinion. My favorite is the Physicians Formula one. It's my favorite no matter the price point. But this is so wonderful. I think it is beautiful on the skin. I love the tone. It was like one of the first cream bronzers that the drugstore launched, especially one that was actually good. And so I had to get my hands on this right when this launched, but I paid $12.99 for a cream bronzer that only comes with 0.21 ounces, which seems a little pricey for the drugstore. So you better bet your bottom dollar. Okay, I just saw Annie recently, but you better bet that. I was really pumped when I found something that's almost half that. So this is the Catrice Melted Sun Bronzer. It's so similar and it comes with more products. So this comes with 0.32 ounces or 9 grams. And let's reflect back that this comes with 0.21 ounces or 6 grams. So you're getting more bang for your buck. And not only that, but you're paying only $7 for this. And this goes on sale quite a bit. These are literally the exact same. The only thing that the Milani has over the Catrice one is that it comes in more shades. But I have the shade Hey Honey in the Milani one, which is the lightest shade they have. And the shade Beach Babe in the Catrice one, which is the lightest shade they have. And this only comes in 2 shades, which is ridiculous, but so does the Physicians Formula one. I don't know why they do this. But if you can find the shade match for this, if you love this and you're like, I want to pay less, and you happen to find the shade match in this one, you're golden. So we have gotten to our final category, which is highlighter. I've got a cream highlighter dupe and then a powder highlighter dupe. So the first dupe I want to talk about is one for the Merit cream highlighter in Cava, the Day Glow Highlighting Balm. So this is one I actually had to go repurchase because I had it when it launched, and then I ended up decluttering it, actually I think 2 declutters ago, which was almost 2 years ago at this point. And it's just because it was fine, but I just felt like it wasn't high-end worthy, and I wasn't really reaching for it. But once I found the drugstore version of this, I had to go repurchase this again to test them against each other. And that drugstore version is the L'Oreal Lumi Le Glace. I tried the Lumi Le Glow, I think is what it is, in a previous video and had to run out and get this. Have been comparing them ever since, and they are the exact same. I have this, like I said, in the shade Cava, and then this one I have in the shade Glassy Pearl, a clot. I don't know if that's part of it. Something in particular that's really cool about this dupe is that the dupe comes with more than the high-end version. So the high-end version, the Merit one, comes with 0.14 ounces or 4 grams, and the L'Oreal or the dupe version comes with 0.17 ounces or 5 grams. So you get a whole extra gram in this, and the highest price that this retails for is $12.99, at least from what I've seen, and this is $32. So it's like a no-brainer. Just get the L'Oreal one. It looks the exact same. Frankly, I like the way this one applies over foundation more. It's not that this one like picks up the foundation, I just feel like this one blends into the foundation while also like still showing up in a more flattering way than the Merit one. So I just had to shout that out. I also love the Glow version of this. I think it's beautiful, so I highly recommend these in general. So the final dupe I want to discuss is one for the Benefit Cookie highlighter. It is just one of those like see it from space highlighters, which isn't what I'm going for, but if we want to get a little glowy, it's kind of fun. This is actually such a good highlighter, and what's funny is I actually tried the dupe for it in a video last year, and I was like, I feel like this looks like something that I've seen on camera before, so I went looking and found out it's for the Benefit one. I am not the first person to shout out this dupe, but I did want to try it out and talk to you about it with you guys, and talk to you about it. I was almost like redundant there. So the dupe is the L'Oreal Infallible Highlighter, the Illuminator Fresh Wear Highlighter. I love the Fresh Wear line. It's a high radiant finish highlighter. This is in the shade Champagne Glow, and Cookie, that is the shade name. So this comes in 2 shades. This is actually the darker shade. It's kind of weird that it only came with 2 shades, and nobody really talks about this because it kind of launched at a weird time because it is such a see it from space highlighter, and it came out in like almost like the clean girl era, the clean girl makeup era, but it is an exact dupe. Shade, the way that it comes off on the skin, how it applies, literally everything about it is the exact same. But even though these are the exact same, the 2 main differences I want to shout out is that this is obviously cheaper at $16 retail price, and you can get it on sale quite a bit, but it also comes with more product. This comes with 0.31 ounces or 9 grams, and then this one comes with 8 grams or 0.28 ounces, and this is $38. $16 high-end, $38. This goes on sale more. This is $38. So I would say pass on this, just get this. In fact, I would say pass on all the high-end versions of things I've tried today and just get the drugstore or the cheaper alternatives, because I'm telling you, not only are they competing, but they're beating the high-end versions out, and it's absolutely super impressive. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I did. I love putting together dupes videos for you guys, because who doesn't want to save money on some amazing high-end products, especially when the dupes are pretty much the exact same. But yeah, I do hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and hit that notification bell down below, and also subscribe if you have not already. If you're feeling like you're in the dupe watching, binging mood, go check out my dupes playlist. I have a few videos that I have done that I'm pretty sure all the dupes and high-end versions are still available. If not, most of them still are. You know, sometimes they discontinue products. But if you are in that mood to watch some more dupes videos, definitely go check that playlist out. And if this does happen to be the first time that you are stumbling across my channel, go check out the rest of it. See if you like what I put out there. We're doing a lot of like beauty content right now, but I also do lifestyle, so you can check out all of the things that you want to on my channel. And if you do happen to like what I put out there, please subscribe, like I said, because I'd love to have you become a part of my family over here long term. But for now, that is it. I hope you guys have the best rest of your day. I hope you guys try out some of these dupes if you feel like it. But I will go ahead and see you guys in the next video.